Welcome to Spoiler Piece Theater, the podcast that doesn't give a shit about spoilers. We just want to talk about the movies. My name is Evan Crean. My pronouns are he, him. I'm co-chair of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, co-author of your 80s Movie Guide to Better Living, and co-host of the It's the Pictures podcast.
And I'm Dave Riedel. My pronouns are he, him. I yap about movies, and I also co-host this podcast and am a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association.
This is true. Yes, you are. We are here to talk about a movie today, but before we get to that movie, I will mention that over on our Patreon segment this week, in our Patreon exclusive audio, we're talking about the 1995 anthology film 4 Rooms, starring Tim Roth and many others, and we had a really fun conversation about that. So, if you're a patron, check that out, and if you're not a patron, please consider joining. For $5 a month. You get weekly bonus episodes like that. We have hundreds of back bonus episodes that you can listen to. There's also a monthly poll that we do that you can vote in. And while I'm at it, I'll say thank you to our sponsor piece patron, Heather Sachs. Heather, thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
All right. And with that out of the way, let's jump into our topic of the day. We're going to be discussing the new Steven Spielberg film Disclosure Day, which is both written and directed by Steven Spielberg, also written by David Koepp. And it stars Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson, Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell, and those are our main folks that are in this. I'll do the one sentence IMDb, and then we'll dig into this. If you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you? Wow, not really used to a plot summary that's like a question, like a rhetorical question for me to like sit with.
But it's also a yes or no question. So
yeah.
Is that really, one of the first things they tell you when you're writing promos is don't ask yes or no questions. Ask how questions. Ask why questions.
Yeah. Ask how, ask why. But yeah, so the premise of this is that aliens are real. There is a shadowy non-governmental organization called Ward X that knows that they exist, has been keeping alien artifacts, and they work with the U.S. government to keep all of this under wraps. And they've also captured aliens, kept them prisoner, interrogated them, etc. And Josh O'Connor has been working for them. He finds out about all of this, and him and Coleman Domingo and a bunch of other people decide to defect and have said, okay, hey, this is all information the public deserves to know. They need to know that aliens are real. They need to know that, we've been keeping this under wraps, that we've been abusing them. We're not alone in the world. So let's get this info out there. So it's one of those on the run chase movies, one of those kinds of conspiracy thriller movies. So Josh O'Connor is doing that, and his girlfriend is Eve Hewson, and he's on the run with her for a bit. Like the whole opening of the film is like he's at a wrestling match, and this guy sneaks up behind him and was got a gun to his back, and he's like, let the backpack slide off, and you're just gonna keep watching the match. And then they take them to some back area where they're rooting through his backpack, which has got all these thumb drives and all kinds of stuff, and they've got his girlfriend hostage. He manages to escape by holding this it kind of looks like a little metal bar, or kind of like a mini little coffin kind of thing. It's this clearly alien weapon that everyone is scared shitless of, and so he manages to escape with her, and they're out on the run with Coleman Domingo trying to guide them to a specific destination, which we find out later is Missouri. Basically at the same time, we have Emily Blunt, who is a weatherwoman on the local news in Missouri, and she lives with her boyfriend Wyatt Russell, and she's kind of been feeling restless, and she is sitting there in their apartment, and a cardinal flies in, and she sees the cardinal, and then she has this weird episode where she starts speaking Russian after that, and it seems to be unlocking all of these weird powers and knowledge that she didn't have before. She can read people's minds and all kinds of things, right? She's speaking in an alien language, and collapses while giving the weather report. And So she ends up in the hospital and quickly realizes that like the government and Wardex are like trying to capture her as well, since she clearly knows something she's not supposed to. And so she goes on the run, and eventually it's like her and Josh O'Connor trying to meet up, and then trying to go together to meet up with Coleman Domingo so that they can, both release this information to the public, but also it turns out that they both had encounters with aliens when they were younger, and that they were part of, it seems, some type of master alien plan to like unite the worlds. Like basically like Josh O'Connor's character, they say like they gave him the gift of knowledge of like math and things like that, like the language of their communications. Like when she's delivering the
weather
statement in the alien language, like he understands it like it's English.
Yeah.
And like her thing is that she understands. The movie says like your job, Josh O'Connor, is to understand them, and her job is to understand us, like humans. And by understanding both, then supposedly, I guess we can somehow bridge the gap and make it so that people don't lose their minds when they find out that aliens are here, and we maybe forge some type of peaceful coexistence.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, they get to the news station where Emily Blunt works, and then they start delivering this information to the public. They start releasing, videos that have been under wraps, and they're broadcasting it first locally, and then, New York gets a hold of it, and they're like, oh crap, we gotta start broadcasting this, and then everyone knows. And so everyone finds out, hey, guess what? Aliens exist.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Aliens are cool, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really get to see the full like ramifications of it, but it does seem it's kind of like blowing everyone's minds, and it seems like it's trending in a positive direction, that people will be able to like figure out how to grapple with this information.
Yeah, well, there's some interesting things going on in this movie, and some not so interesting, and some good choices and some bad choices. This is a real mixed, overall good movie, I think.
Yes, overall, I would say definitely thumbs up. But yes, there's some mixed bag pieces here.
Overall, well-intentioned. Overall, execution is a little weird in places.
Yes.
One of the ones we were talking about is how, we talked about this after the movie, or I complained about it anyway, when Colin Firth is like got control of Eve Hewson and, is trying to make her stab her boyfriend, Josh O'Connor.
Right.
And Josh O'Connor realizes she's trying to stab him, but he's also driving a car.
Right.
But she starts grappling with it, trying to like stab herself in the hand so she can like break the trance, because apparently that's how you do it, is with pain. But anyway, while she's struggling against herself, or with Colin Firth, or however you want to put it, mentally for like the 90 seconds, he just keeps driving the fucking car like she's not trying to stab him.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell, Evan?
It's not like he has that much choice in the moment. He's being actively pursued by like a billion other like agents that are like smashing into him and trying to like run him off the road.
Yeah, but the thing that's interesting about that is, while she's making the choice, or while she's struggling to keep herself from stabbing him, the camera stays on her the entire time.
Yeah.
And like her face, her twisting emotions, and his voice just kind of fades away, and the car like drives steadily. It's bizarre. It's
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that in it where I feel like younger Spielberg wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But yeah, getting back to that like weird metal bar thing, it's like those, they have like 3 or 4 of them like that they can use, and they have various applications. Like one, I guess if you squeeze it, you just like teleport for a second. But like mostly you can use it to, like Dave said, you can get inside people, you can find people, get inside their minds, and like look around and see through their eyes. I forget some of the other things they can do. You can make yourself invisible so other people can't see you.
Right.
And I'm totally blanking, but it's supposed to be like these like weird kind of like sticks that you can use that have all kinds of different abilities if you know what you're doing with them. But Colin
Right.
Firth is only using it for nefarious purpose of like trying to control Eve Hewson or try and track people. And it seems to be taking a massive physical toll on him.
Yeah.
Like it seems like every time he uses it, it like fucks up his body more and more and more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Bizarre choices. I think what puts this movie over the top into the category of this is definitely worth watching more than anything is Emily Blunt, who I think is just phenomenal in this. I mean, I've always liked her, but this is a very different sort of performance for her. A character that is, Emily Blunt is always kind of, no matter what she does, she's always kind of in control in her performances. And in this one, her character is on the verge of like basically losing her mind at any moment. And you can see her grappling with that.
Yes.
And it's real. And she does it very well. And I like Josh O'Connor a lot. I'm not sure he's quite right for this. I think that you need somebody who comes across less empathetic than he does, who is being guided toward empathy, whereas this guy's just like, I'm all in and blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying you need to take the Wyatt Russell approach, but
yeah, he's a dick. He's a dick to Emily Blunt. He's like, I don't believe you. I think you're mentally ill, even though he's like seen evidence to the contrary. And he's kind of like, I think you should go back to the doctor and let the FBI do whatever it is that they say they're going to do, even though it's not really the FBI.
Yeah. And it turns out he's planning to leave her, so because now she can read his mind.
I agree with you, though. I think Emily Blunt is excellent in this. I think she does a really good job of portraying like both aspects of the character of like someone who's like clearly doesn't understand and is afraid of the things that are happening to her, like with her mind. But also someone who is learning to like harness those new abilities in a way that is extremely useful. Like the way she's able to like just walk her way onto this base where Josh O'Connor is being held by just being like, okay, I know what the password is. I can like appear to people as like, their loved ones and tell them to like move aside and things like that. I think that is all really compelling.
Yeah.
As well as like the kind of climactic moment where they've like built a replica of her childhood house and she has to like go back to the time when she was like abducted by the aliens and like relive that experience to basically like finish unlocking like everything that's been happening to her. And that I think was all really well done. Like I like Josh O'Connor in this. I thought he was great, and I liked his like empathetic bent. I was fine with him kind of being that from the beginning. Like there is that moment where they like sit down to like, I don't even know what to call it, to like process whatever it is that she's supposed to do, where they're like hooked up to like the electrodes and she's using like the alien device to like unlock these memories, and they like go to hold hands and it was like they both say at the same time like, don't let go.
Yeah.
And I thought that was effective for me. But there are moments, there's some like really actiony set pieces in this. I think it largely moves despite being almost 2.5 hours, but it does feel a little long to me.
Yeah, I didn't really have a problem with it doesn't sound like you had a problem with it, but I didn't really have a problem with like the slower bits. I think the way that the movie releases information in drips and drabs is pretty good in this.
Yeah, agree.
As opposed to being a series of like exposition dumps. I mean, they're expositional, but they always seem to they make better they make sense in the context of whatever they're doing at the time. I think Eve Hewson is just kind of flat in this. I don't think her character does much. It's not really her fault, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot there. I mean, she's very skeptical in the beginning, and I think there's kind of an interesting angle that she's like used to be a nun in training, and she left that not necessarily because she stopped believing, but because she doesn't feel like it was right for her anymore. And part of her character's issue is like grappling with the like, should people know about aliens if that's going to like impact their belief in God? Is like no one going to believe in God anymore? Is like the church going to entirely fall apart? And I liked having the Elizabeth Marvel's character to kind of like balance that out, to be like someone for her to like bounce those thoughts off of as like her former like I forget what they're called, like the head nun.
Well, like the nun that you're like training under when you're a novitiate, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the naming things. I really, you know what? Actually, I thought it made me laugh. I don't know if it's supposed to make you laugh, but when Josh O'Connor says to her right at the beginning, he's like, "You're a nun," and she looks at him and she says, "Daniel, we've had sex."
Yeah,
that really made me laugh.
Yeah, that line made me laugh out loud as well. I thought that was funny.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think that her storyline is sort of relegated to the back burner, partially because this is kind of a big story they're trying to tell, and they kind of like they bring up the faith thing, but then they sort of play lip service to it, which I'm fine with you not bringing in the faith angle to this. I mean, I cannot tell you how it made my blood boil when that woman kneeled and signed the cross on herself in front of Emily Blunt like, toward the end of the movie. And I'm just like, this is actually the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a major American movie in 2026. Because like we all need to be fucking reminded of the Christ angle. But rage aside,
felt heavy-handed for sure.
I mean, yeah. The only thing that would have made it worse is if that woman started speaking in tongues, you know?
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's interesting. Okay. Let's talk about, how do you think this movie looks?
Well, I joked after the movie that I think this movie could use more lens flares.
Oh my God, yes.
I fucking hate the number of lens flares in this. It's just too much.
It's almost like it's a parody of himself, you know?
Yeah. It's almost like Steven Spielberg doing a parody of J.J. Abrams.
Doing an homage to Steven Spielberg.
The number of lens flares that are in this.
I mean...
Yeah, I think looks-wise, it looks kind of muddy a lot of the time. I don't think it looks particularly good in a lot of sequences.
I don't either. I have always thought that, like... how do I put this? I feel like Janusz Kaminski kinda he got lucky with Schindler's List or with Saving Private Ryan, which are the big Spielberg movies I think we think of when we think of him. And he's just been kind of riding that, because if you think of all the other Spielberg movies he's done since then, I think that Minority Report, it looks okay, but it looks very much of its time.
Yeah.
I don't remember what Catch Me If You Can looks like. I think The Terminal looks bad. I think War of the Worlds looks bad. I think Munich looks bad. And I think it could just be that I don't like his style of cinematography, which is very, very handheldy, very like false, like fake graininess, but like intentionally flat, but at the same time blown out. Do you know what I mean? It's like the Saving Private Ryan effect when they're on the beach, you know, when the faces are so flat, but the backlighting is so blown out you can't see what's going on behind them, which is a choice. And don't get me wrong, it takes skill to do that, but I'm just not sure it's the appropriate use of that skill in a movie like this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, we agree the movie does not look good from a visual standpoint.
Yeah.
I think, this is another John Williams score, right? I don't feel like the score is particularly memorable in this.
I thought it was comic. In some ways, it was so bad. There were moments when like the Colin Firth like villain thing was starting to happen, and it turned into, you know how like when you watch a Disney movie from like an animated Disney movie from like the 50s or 60s, like when Walt Disney started to have like less control of that stuff, and the music became, I want to say like Oompa Loompa music, because I always think of from Willy Wonka, but it's like you've got those low like single bass notes, and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you implying that there's a giant monster walking in from stage left right now? You know?
Yeah.
And the other thing is this, I've always felt like John Williams kind of telegraphs where things are going too much. But I mean, in this one, there is no mystery what's coming next when the music kicks in, you know?
Right.
And I don't think that's necessarily a fault of the screenplay. I think that's the music. This music is wildly inappropriate, I think. Not inappropriate like you're bad, but inappropriate is just like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it doesn't match the tone of what's going on effectively.
No, the movie's more serious than the music is, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this movie is largely very serious. There's not really like light comedy aside from like that one line that you mentioned, which actually was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's heavy. It's one of those conspiracy thrillers where there's a real sense of danger that like these people could be caught and killed and this information continue to be swept under the rug. But there's also like the personal stakes for Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt. They've like have all these like weird like this like childhood trauma from like the alien abduction / things that are happening to their bodies and their minds that they not quite grasping or in control of.
Mm-hmm. And what's really, I think this is actually an interesting, good choice when they finally do have to remember, by the way, if anybody can hear that, there's somebody mowing my lawn right now. So excuse me. There is that moment, you know, the entire movie, she's talking about that night she doesn't remember. I don't think she ever brings it up. People like, do you ever remember a time? And she's like, what happened when you were 12 or whatever? She's like, no, I don't want to think about it. And what's interesting about that though, is once they finally start going into the memory, she becomes completely calm and he loses his mind. Right. Like it kind of switches in a way that I wasn't expecting anyway. I was expecting it to be quite hokey, which it is, but it's not as hokey as it could be.
Right. Yeah. And there's so many like little choices that are strange. Like in that scene I was thinking, so it's like she's recounting this night where she was having trouble sleeping when she's a kid. And she's sitting there on her bed in the middle of the night, but like on top of her sheets. I'm like, who the fuck is like in bed, but not like under the covers, who has been trying to sleep, but can't sleep? I just thought that was like, she's just like sitting there, like waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, maybe it was the 90s and she was going to sneak over to, what was the second not PlayStation. What was the second Nintendo called? The Super NES? Maybe she's going to go play Super NES.
Yeah, well, she did have a Nintendo on the floor in the recreated like house when she was like, looking around.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there was a original Nintendo plugged into the TV. Yeah, I thought I was also kind of like, why did they? I mean, I guess they felt like they needed to rebuild her house to the exact specifications, but I was like, that is like, how the fuck did they get that information? Like, how long had they been planning this? That they
where did they find the alien?
Yeah, that's right. We're told at some point that there was an alien that was being held captive that escaped, and Colman Domingo helped it escape and has been like, you know, on the run this entire time. But like, where has it been? Because like at the end here, the alien does show up and like is here talking to like Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt, and they're like, where's this alien been hiding? Like, how have they been able to keep this thing like under wraps this entire time? Because it's implied like it happened a decent amount of time ago, like several years ago.
Yeah. I mean, like, what do aliens eat? What do they breathe? You know, I mean, apparently they can breathe oxygen because there are pieces of like the government footage that they put out in Daniel's big leak, worldwide leak. You know what is actually pretty good? I thought, breaking into my own thing, I thought that the woman, I can't remember, I guess she was the NBC national anchor. I thought she was actually pretty good. I was like,
that was a really good performance.
This is going in ways like she's kind of, it really felt like she was grappling and trying to remain like a news authority while also expressing skepticism and her own fear. It reminded me very much of when Peter Jennings was on the air for like 60 hours straight or something like that after September 11th. But I thought that was really well done. And I also thought this is one of the few movies I've seen in a long time that gets what a newsroom is actually like, or not a newsroom, a control room is actually like when it's really, really, really fucking busy, you know? Just in case anybody's wondering, this is a pretty good representation. But yeah. I forgot what I was saying before that when I interrupted myself, but
no, but I agree about that anchor, the performance of the person playing the national anchor who is reacting to things in real time with like you said, there's the skepticism, there's the empathy, like the deep empathy. There's also the like I'm shocked, I'm horrified, I'm all of these things, but I still have to maintain some element of composure because I'm on the air.
Right.
I thought that was all really effectively done. And yeah, I thought it was interesting that they're like, okay, let's show a bunch of stuff. Like, guess what? Roswell definitely happened.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you have like a passing interest in UFO stuff like me, you've heard of some of these other things too. Like there's one, Kecksburg, Pennsylvania was like one of the other like supposedly UFO.
I don't know that one. Tell me.
And they're like, yeah, that's a thing too. Look, there's footage from Kecksburg. Here you go.
Well, what is that one? I don't know that one.
It's supposedly like another UFO crash site that happened at some point. I forget exactly when it happened, but it's one of the ones that is rumored to have been like, oh yeah, there was this thing in Kecksburg. There was a crash. It was a UFO crash. It was covered up. But I thought it was interesting that they're like, let's take the well-known ones and be like, that definitely happened.
Yeah.
That was definitely aliens. It definitely happened. And like,
they didn't, there's a whole thing in the movie where Daniel is standing in the middle of a field and all of a sudden like a crop circle like starts embedding itself, but they never talk about crop circles again or explain why they're there. I thought, I was like, we're finally going to get some crop circle explanations. Nice.
They did show in one of the leaked videos like a crop circle being formed. Like they showed it happening in real time, like it happens to Daniel in the movie, but they didn't really give any details as to how. It was just like one of the clips in the many that were being broadcast.
I also noticed, thankfully, that they did not show us a second time the alien vivisection, like Daniel shows Eve Hewson in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey. I don't know. I'm just getting kind of like the heebie-jeebies thinking about the vivisection. To his credit, he does tell her beforehand, this one's hard to watch.
Yeah, it's true.
And we don't even see the whole thing like she does.
No, we just hear like the audio from it.
That's
also very effectively done. It's like you don't need to see it, but you know what's happening, and it's just like, ugh.
Well, the kind of the thing that I thought of was just like the humanness of that brand of ugliness,
Yeah.
Which is why it's funny to me that later, Daniel's like their whole worldview or universal view or whatever it is built on empathy, and I just remember thinking, good luck.
Yeah,
especially in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this movie, I think it veers into, as we talked about after the movie, it veers into saccharine territory, and it gets pretty corny in places, like when it's like espousing some of its kind of like philosophical, like grandiose ideas. Like there's this whole kind of like rant that Coleman Domingo's character goes on about like, like something about like the believers, and they're like, we should believe them because it's true what they believe, but then we're making them think like they don't, and we're telling everyone else they're crazy, which is like really fucked up to do. It's just like there's certain things, like parts of dialogue in the movie that just feel like really corny and saccharine in a way that you're like, I think these are some of like the worst Spielberg impulses in some of his movies, where you're like, oh, cringe.
Yeah, it's so funny how he's, in a way, I think that he's become sort of less sentimental as he's gotten older, but when he does indulge in it, it's so much worse even than it used to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think of his, like the recent, I can't remember anything from like The Post, but like The Fabelmans is just like one long, it's like, all right, you suppressed the sentimental stuff for however many movies, and now you're going to make one movie that's all that? Great.
Right. Yeah. Like every time Judd Hirsch is on screen, basically, there's like that scene where he's like visits his dad at his apartment or whatever. And like, there's just certain moments from that. Yeah, you're right. That feel like just dial up that stuff to 11.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that this is this latest Spielberg movie is going to be a recommendation, which I haven't done. I don't think I've recommended a Spielberg movie since The Post. So that's a lot of Spielberg movies ago.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I would recommend this one as well. And I think this is kind of, I mean, it goes back to his like wheelhouse of movies in the vein of like E.T. and Close Encounters. It's like he can do sci-fi really well. He can do aliens. I think I have always felt that Spielberg, one of his strengths, whether it's like movies, sci-fi, or even Jurassic Park, it's like he does a really good job of capturing the awe and the wonder, like the childlike awe and wonder about the supernatural, the fantastical, the things that are kind of like hovering above our state of understanding about the world and the universe.
Yeah.
And I think this movie is definitely well done in that vein. Like it captures that sense of awe and wonder around the idea of aliens and outer space, and like the idea that we do live in this massive universe. Like, why would we? I think Elizabeth Marvel says something like that as the nun. She's like, why would God create this incredible universe and just make it just for us? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I was just thinking of something else. I really hope this is Steven Spielberg's last Alien movie.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I think you're done.
Well, yeah, it's like what war movie do you make after Saving Private Ryan? Like what Alien movie do you make after this? You know?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it doesn't get any more than like aliens are real. We found out about it. Okay, everyone knows the aliens are real now. The end.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like, where do you go from here? Other than like maybe a follow-up, or it's like, oh, actually, they're really mean. They're not nice aliens.
I know. I also like the angle that he takes, that aliens, generally speaking, are benevolent. You know, because I also happen to share the view that, I mean, if you could travel across space and time, why would you be evil? You know, yeah. I mean, if you can just go somewhere else if you don't like where you are. It's like, ooh, let's conquer. But why? We don't need to. We can just go over here, you know?
Yeah. It reminds me of one of my favorite lines, and I'm just going to do a terrible job of quoting it, but there's a line from Star Trek First Contact where Picard is talking to this woman from the past, and he's like, in our future, like, money is a thing of the past. Like, we don't have money, we don't have capitalism, we don't have like any of the social structures that you're aware of. We've transcended that. Like, our like lives are devoted to like exploration and expanding the frontiers of our understanding and like knowledge and science,
Yeah. It's always, when you talk about First Contact, and people would be like, oh, the Vulcans are the ones they met first. And it's like, well, of course the Vulcans are the ones they met first. What happens if they met the Romulans first? Jesus,
or the Klingons.
Yeah. It's like, you met the Klingons first. Those would be the last ones you met. Good Lord. So anyway, I was pleasantly surprised, I guess is how I would put it.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. This movie opened with a wrestling match when you're kind of like in the first person perspective of like getting roughed up in the ring. And I'm like, what is this opening? Where are we going with this? I was like really surprised by how we were angling into like the thriller aspect, and the fact that after that pretty much just throws you right into the mix of like, okay, there's this guy, he's already on the run and he's already in trouble. I thought that was a really smart way to open the movie.
I think it was definitely a smart choice to start in like we're already in trouble, because if you've got to explain all the backstory and then get into the story, this is what I meant earlier when I said, like teasing things out in drips and drabs. It's just like you dump us in and then you feed us information as we go. That being said, I don't love wrestling, but it definitely surprised me that a Steven Spielberg movie opened with a wrestling match.
Yeah. I was really wondering what we were getting into.
Yeah.
In a good way. Yeah. I think the only thing I wanted to call out is in the like frustrating choices, nonsensical things. There's a few moments where we're like either about to start a chase or like finishing a chase that make absolutely no sense in a way that you're like, what the fuck? It really wouldn't have taken that much more effort to make this not look stupid. Like there's a part where he's staying in a farmhouse with E.T.'s Josh O'Connor, And he wanders off to talk to Coleman Domingo on his satellite phone, and she's still in the house, and all of the agents show up, and they've parked their cars like outside the house, and they're like looking at the house, and he's at some fence that's like in front of where their cars are. And somehow, with all of them looking around, no one fucking notices him climb over the fences and walk right up to their fucking cars and get in the car and start the car. And like, then they finally fucking notice him. Like, you wouldn't think someone would be looking around behind them, be like, okay, you guys look over there. We'll look over here and see if we find him. Like, the fact that he's able to like sneak up on them is insane. And then at the end of this chase, they decide to drive their car over a cliff. They like throw a rock on it and they drive it off the cliff. And everyone, all the agents are like looking over the cliff. Oh, okay, shit, we got to go like do water recovery. We got to look and see what's down there. And they're hiding behind a rock right fucking next to them. And they're running away.
Yeah.
They're running away. I'm like, you would think no one would look to the left and be like, oh, I wonder if they're over there and not dumping their fucking car in the water. Like,
hey, Evan, you don't think they're over there, do you? You don't think that they tried to fool us with the car trick, do you?
Yeah, it's the same thing when they turn invisible later in the movie. Like, Emily Blunt uses the instrument to make them all invisible, and all the agents show up at this giant fucking warehouse, and they're like, they should be here. We see the heat signatures, but we don't see the people. That's really weird. And then the people are like, okay, we got to get away. So they start running, and you hear their footsteps in the middle of a fucking warehouse.
Yeah.
And all the agents are running and like crashing into things because they don't see them, and you're just like, come on.
Not the best. Used to much better effect in Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home when Catherine Hicks runs into the side of the Klingon cruiser.
Mm-hmm.
Or when the guys are picking up the garbage at the beginning of Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, and they're like, what is that giant wind? And then they see the trash can get crushed by an invisible Klingon cruiser.
Uh-huh.
Did you say that? No, and neither did you, so shut up.
Yeah, that's like fun. And this is just it. I feel like they're choices that could have slightly been tweaked and look a lot less dumb.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean when I say, I've said this before, not in this episode though, where Steven Spielberg's sense of humor is just sometimes so misplaced. You know, like with the government, whatever you call them, agents like running into invisible shit. It's like, this is not really the time.
Right.
This
doesn't match the tone of the rest of the movie.
No.
What would match the tone is them going, hey, I don't see anything, but I see the heat signatures and I hear fucking footsteps. So I'm going to start going over there to catch these people.
Yeah.
Instead of just looking dumbfounded for an instant until they run over and start crashing into things.
Yeah. I went for a hike this weekend. Get the walking stick out of my car and let me hold that out in front of me so I don't just run into an invisible house. You know? Well, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, but long story short, we would both recommend Disclosure Day. So definitely worth checking out. It's in the positive Spielberg category.
Yeah.
And it means it because, like Dave, we mean it because, like Dave said, he has not recommended a Spielberg movie in a minute. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't generally recommend Spielberg movies. That's another thing that he's not my guy. Like he's a lot of people's guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, he generally is. I do, on balance, like most of his movies. So,
I've grown to appreciate him. Yeah, I've grown to appreciate him more, but. As much as I think some of the cinematography in, say, Close Encounters is absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
I don't want to watch Richard Dreyfuss just be a complete fucking asshole for 2 hours. I don't.
Yeah,
so
fair. Yeah, I was actually rewatching Close Encounters because I was talking about it over on It's the Pictures, but also because I'd heard that there was a connection between Disclosure Day and Close Encounters, and it's really only in that when you see the footage of all the different like alien stuff, you see some of the ships from Close Encounters, but that's it. There's not like any other remote connection to Close Encounters.
Right.
But I started watching Close Encounters and I abandoned it because I got bored. But an hour in, it was like, why am I rewatching this? It was like not my mood at all. I got bored.
Yeah. All I can think about when I watch that movie now is how he abandoned his family.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Yeah. I mean, which, that's always been there. But I think even Spielberg doesn't really, basically pays that lip service. Doesn't really, that movie is more about like the discovery and than the actual, I don't want to say real world implications, because aliens landing on Earth is real world implications. But say the micro implications as opposed to the macro.
Yeah, I agree with that. It seemed like it's more personally focused to the characters instead of society at large, like it is in this one.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Disclosure Day.
Yeah, Disclosure Day. See it. It's coming out in theaters. So yeah, I think that wraps up this week's episode of Spoiler Piece Theater. I want to say a huge thank you to our editor, Otto Clammer. Otto, thank you for making it sound so great week after week.
Thank you, Otto.
You can find the show anywhere you get podcasts. You can also go to our website, spoilerpiece.com, and you can go there to check out our merch as well. We have a link to our merch on our TeePublic store, and get all kinds of good stuff to support the show. And you can find us on social media to connect with us. You can also send us an email. We're spoilerpiece@gmail.com. You can take umbrage at things that we've said about Spielberg or about this movie. You can tell us you agree with us. You can ask us other questions. We'd like to hear from you. If you like the show, please rate and review us by going to ratethispodcast.com/spoilerpiece. Your ratings and reviews are particularly helpful on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, where, it helps more people learn about the show and gives us some cred. And if you really, really like the show, please consider joining our Patreon. As I mentioned at the top of the episode, we're talking about the 1995 anthology film 4 Rooms, and we had a fun conversation about that. So just $5 a month, you get weekly bonus episodes, and you get vote on a monthly poll. And yeah, I think that's all the stuff that I was supposed to say. So my name is Evan Crean. I am co-chair of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, co-author of your 80s Movie Guide to Better Living, and co-host of the It's the Pictures podcast. You can follow me on social media as Real Recon, and that's real as in film reel.
And I'm Dave Riedel. I'm a member of the Boston Online Film Critics Association, and all of my social medias are Dave Sees Movies, or David Riedel on Blue Sky, or X Can Suck a Dick with a DIK on Twitter.
Yeah, suck a dick, X.
That's right, baby.
We'll see you next week.
All right, bye.